Good evening indeed. Welcome back to Paranormal Site, the 7 Mysteries of Honjo. Oh dear, oh dear. That's just from me having something to eat. Don't mind about that. It's last time we were playing this, we basically played through with the one thing. We've now unlocked the story arc, which is I can now select certain shit. And this time around, we ain't going to press the button at all. We're going to let it all do itself. I brought myself my little boy along with me at the moment because, you know what? We all need a little bit of comfort sometimes. So, let's go. Let's freaking go. Yeah, here we go. Part 2. That's where we're going to go from because obviously when we went to there, we just, we pressed the button and killed her. So, this time around, we ain't pressing shit. I'll resume it. I'll see what happens if I resume. Something's happening to Yoko. Is that the bad bit or the okay bit? Whoa. The hell? Oh, the air just changed. Yoko, are you okay? Hey, what's wrong? Stay with me. No, this can't be. No. I'm gonna go Yoko really rattled. Why? Yoko! Your eyes on my back, I can't move. Is there something behind me? No use, she's in no condition. Keep yelling her name. Huh? What? Is calling her name really going to help? I'm yelling as hard as I can. Shouldn't I look for what's causing this? There's nothing there. Yoko. Hang in there, Yoko. Look at me. You're going to be okay. It's alright. There's nothing there. It's the mythical legend Spaniard known as Zende. Hello. Yoko! Well, Yoko's dead. Again. Or at least she's fainted. Nice. This time around, she's not dead. So we got ourselves a different path this time rather than dead. Dead Yoko. Living Yoko. Shogo cries Yoko's name in a desperate attempt to wake her as she lies, unmoving on the ground. Always please get through to her. I'd hope so. Shogo-oki, 1 a.m. Shogi, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Shogi? Huh? Oh, good. You're awake. What? Are you okay? You were so rattled and confused. I thought you'd really lost it. Do you feel dizzy? Have a headache? Are your humors off balance? Wait, what did you say? I think I've heard that before. You were the one who said it earlier. Oh right, that must have been it. My humors were off balance. Oh, back there, you ended it like that because of your humors? Yeah, I've heard that at this age, your humors being even a little bit off can be fatal. I'm glad you're back to normal now. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't mean to cause you so much trouble. But I really don't remember what happened. Sounds like what happened to me. Maybe this place is dangerous somehow. What? Are you backing out? Yeah, it just doesn't feel safe to me and I'm worried about you. Let's call off today's investigation. Oh, come on. I just started feeling back to normal too. Nope, not happening. Go home. I'll even pay your cab fare, okay? End up having to force a little, still protesting Yoko into a taxi. I end up having to force a still protesting Yoko into a taxi. There we go. Blarg. Even then, she still wouldn't stop complaining. But to Placeta, I promised I'd search the park on my own for a little while longer. Oh no. I mean, oh yes. Oh man, we skip all of this. Oh my god. What about Yoko after her bizarre incident? Shogo decides to call off their investigation into the mystery of the night. Despite her stubborn objections, he managed to persuade her by offering her to continue the search on his own. Oh my. Oh, we skipped like an absolute load. Kinshibori Park. Oh, the music. Very jaunty. In further news. Oh, wait, what? Poor dawn today, a police officer on patrol discovered a man collapsed in Sumida City Park. In a Sumida City Park. The man was taken to the hospital, but his death was confirmed shortly after. Investigations are still underway, but police suspect a connection to the other unexplained deaths found near it around the same time. Did she kill us this time? Well, kill him? Ugh. The 7 Mysteries of Honjo. Ha ha ha. Goddamn. Takanari, you're gonna do you're doing some good here. Kazumuroshu, thank you very much for producing this game. I feel very, very loved. Assistant producer Keisuke Nakamura. Nomura! Nah, it's not that Nomura. Jun Kobayashi character design. You know what? Characters are very well designed in this. I can't deny that. They really are. And development is Zine Inc. Well done in your efforts thus far. This brings Shogo Oki's story to a close. Ah, but this is not the end, far from it. In fact, this is where the story finally begins. The roots of the 3 protagonists have now been unlocked. Haru Shigeme, a woman who lost her son when she was kidnapped and murdered. Tetsuo Tsutsumi, the chief inspector of the 1st Investigative Division, who's looking into the death of an officer in the line of duty. Yakoko Sakazaki, a high school girl who wants to bring her friend back from the dead. A girl who died in a suspicious suicide. But no matter what, Shogo would have died. Okay. Each of them is a burden with circumstances that leave them no choice but to seek the rite of resurrection. Following these 3 storylines will reveal the full nature of all that is occurring. With that, please enjoy the continuation of this tale. Sir, yes, sir. Oh my word! I'm not going to go with hers first, just because it has the very flamboyant detective. And they say they're the new one, the main characters. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that at all. Not dreams. When the son of Haru Shigemi was kidnapped, a botched investigation by the police resulted in the child's murder. 1 year later, Haru has hired a private investigator to help resolve the unsettled case. Late at night, while speaking to a detective at her home, something strange suddenly appears. Ha-ha! May those who mock files fury perish in flame. Kill them. Kill them. The flame bearers. Kill them all. Require the power that curse turn the haunting clappers. You can use to kill those with fire or a fire starting device on their person. Press the use curse button to set your target alight. So that's how it worked. That's interesting. Cool. The haunting clappers. Kills by burning one who is in possession of fire or a fire starting device. Red, red, red. Everything is dyed crimson. My home is burning to the ground. It's hot. So hot. I must call for help, but I cannot speak. My throat must be burned up from the smoke. No, I think I'm already on fire. That's right, I'll just use the clappers. Clack, clack, is anybody there? Clack, clack. Well, why is no one coming? I'm going to burn to death. How did it come to this? Oh, right, her. It must be the work of that vixen who appeared suddenly and enchanted my lord. That witch. Those hauntingly cold eyes had my lord dancing in the palm of her hand. Perhaps I was also taken in by her. How many innocent people do I lure in under orders? This must be karma. The sound of a heavy bell feels like my head? I mean, sure, my head. It was split open. Ah, right. The evening bell. That must be why nobody can hear the sound of my clappers. I've got to do it louder. Clack, clack. That makes a lot of sense. It's like the evening bell, blah, blah, blah. The night watchman patrols the dark streets and announces his presence by shouting warnings about fires, otherwise striking his wooden clappers. But tonight, the sound of another set of clappers answers back. He caused claps his clappers together again. Clack, clack. The echo answers again, but no matter how hard he searches for the source of this second pair of clappers, he never finds it. Some says the work of mischievous Tanuki or Kitsune. The stage was a warning from the spirits of someone who lost their life in a terrible fire. That makes a lot of sense. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. I must kill. Murder. Now. Kill. I'm not gonna kill anybody if I can help it. Can you hear it, curse bearer? You who so strongly desire the right. Kill them. Well, I'm gonna see. I want to see if I don't do anything myself. And hello there, Mr. Vlad. How you doing this fine evening? Haruhi Shigima. Shigima? Shigima. Shigima. Shigima Mansion Reception Room. So now we've actually unlocked the main characters. Back with me, ma'am. Can't understand what just happened. This certainly seems to put you in a good mood. Yeah. This might be the first time I've ever seen you really smile. Sweet dreams. This is the woman who lost her son. Housewife Haruhi Izumiya. Well, Shigima. Sex female. Well, occupation housewife. Curse echo the haunting clappers. Which her one basically, she can set anybody on fire who has either is on fire themselves already, or has something that can be burned, or like can be used to set fire, or has a fire starting device on them. Which is why we had to throw away the lighter. So yeah. Haru is a housewife who resides in a manor near Shumoku Bridge. Her 11-year-old son, Shuichi, was kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. The death was the result of a mistake on the part of the detective assigned to the case. A mistake which enraged the kidnapper and had him cut off all contact with the police, leaving no room for negotiation. The incident was covered up and Shuichi's killer remains at large, leading the aggrieved Haruhi to call on the services of private investigator Rishita Kai to uncover the truth. The Shigima family came from a line of samurai who built their residence in Honjo during the Edo period. They assumed important positions in the police force following the Meiji Revolution, thereby protecting their family's elevated status. Even today, many in the Shigimi line work as police bureaucrats and senior police officers. Haru's father sits in the upper echelons of the National Police Agency, and her husband, adopted into the Shigimi family through an arranged marriage, is also a highly respected agency official. Shamure. Indeed. However, as her family prioritizes work above all else, it wasn't long before Haru's marriage grew cold. Though she wants for nothing, she is isolated from her neighbors and withdrawn from society. Seeing her son grow into a young man and gave Haru a purpose in life, but it was cut short by the kidnapping incident. Following the incident, Haru spent many days in a deep depression, breaking into the sudden fits of shouting and wandering around in the middle of the night. Her cheerful, loving disposition faded away, and she took to making snide remarks at her husband, which only further soured their relationship. A few months ago, Haru's husband was transferred to another area for work and now rarely returns home, with Haru left to live in the large, empty mansion alone, as a housekeeper who's been with the family for a long time comes in to take care of all the housework. Haru has nothing but time on her hands. Oh no. To be fair, I should actually look at that again because it was like, not this bit. I don't need to look at that. Beep. And no, I want to see the other things. I want to see the files, damn it. Yeah, the Phenomenon's curses, like we can actually, I believe we should be able to, nope, okay, never mind. Here's the haunting clappers. Clappers! So yeah, kills by burning one who's in possession of fire or a fire starting device. So there you go. That's basically what it does. No. Not dreams. Sounds like something I might want to hear about. A private investigator I hired. A friend told me about him. They said he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Ota City and saw how he dressed, I could hardly believe he was a detective. After talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. He says some strange things at times, but he seems like the reliable sort. Sex male. Occupation, private investigator, curse echo, none. He, at least we know he does not have a curse echo. That is a guarantee. That's good. This ancient man that Shogo Oki ran into at Honoji Bridge. Rishu is actually a private investigator with an office in Ota City, Tokyo. After taking on a request from Haru Shigima to investigate the unsolved kidnapping and murder of her son, he gets caught up in the events surrounding the Rite of Resurrection. Once a police officer, Risho was racked with guilt over the police's inability to help all those in need and quit the force to start his own private investigation firm. However, his soft-hearted nature leads him to take on too many cases and has put his office in dire financial straits. How he is still in business is a mystery, with some whispering that a wealthy patron is keeping him afloat. Risho sits alongside Detective Jun Erio at the police academy. Somewhat surprisingly, given his outlandish clothing and mannerism, Risho excels at covert investigations and tailing his targets. He proudly refers to himself as investigator extraordinaire, though that only ever succeeds at impressing himself. Risho's biggest source of happiness is nuzzling his pet female albino parakeet, Ellenstein, which he keeps in his office. He also enjoys collecting mockingbird stickers, a popular line of merchandise featuring birds inexplicably dressed like delinquents, and can be frequently sighted searching around town for them. While out and about, Risho typically leaves the office and, more importantly, Ellenstein, in the care of Anamori, a junior high schooler who volunteered to assist Risho after being involved in a previous case. Damn, that's some backstory. Hey, what, more files updated? Oh my god. Risho Kai's private investigation firm in Kamata, Ota City. Originally, Kai thought to give it a simple name like Kai's Detective Agency. Upon hearing that people are more likely to pick names listed at the front of the phone book alphabetically, we decided to pick a name starting with an A, thus the Azure Heron Agency was established. Smart. However, it is questionable whether the heron, a bird of somewhat ominous significance, is an effective symbol for attracting customers. His own assistant has referred to the name as confusing at best. After all, rather than an azure heron, Risho keeps a white parrot as a pet, and dresses not in blue, but mostly in white. If there was a symbolic connection to be made here, it has surely been lost on all but Risho himself. A private investigator who knows the private eye as a detective who operates their own agency. Although there are no formal qualifications necessary to become a private investigator, many are retired police agents or detectives due to the similarities between the work involved. At a glance, private investigation firms and inquiry offices might look similar, but they carry out different types of investigations. Inquiry officers specialize in conducting credit checks on businesses, while private investigators are generally involved in tailing persons of interest in gaining information through that word. But yes, I have been also doing a lot more editing today as well. I started on episode 2 of RE4 out of like 17 or whatever it is. It's fun. There's a lot to cut out, so it goes from like 40 minutes down to maybe 25, half an hour or something. But I mean, that's all right. I'll have a look around this place. A stereo unit with separated speakers designed for home use. My husband insisted on buying one, even though he isn't one to listen to music often. That's your sticker. Well, I'll be damned. Why am I suddenly American? Well, I'll be damned. Is that what I think it is? Goodness, you made me jump. Ah! My god, it's just a silly little sticker, oh, sorry. It's just a silly little sticker my son got from somewhere or other. He put it up just before, well, you know what happened. I still can't bring myself to take it down. Let me take a closer look. I knew it! His head honcho from way back in set number 1. This is a real collector's item. Excuse me? Don't tell me you've never heard of the Mockingbirds. The what? They're the hottest new craze. Cute little birds dressed up like rough and tumble delinquents. I've never heard of them, but this certainly seems to matter to you. The best part is nobody knows who made them. They just started showing up around town, and soon enough they'd won everybody's hearts. So it goes that they're made by some anonymous artist who covertly leaves them behind in specific locations. No one knows when or where they'll show up next. They're basically an urban legend of sorts. To think one would turn up here of all places. This is a good sign, I'm sure of it. Oh, well, that's nice. Mockingbird 1 discovered. Oh no. Oh no. No! I'm okay with collectibles. These popular bird mascot stickers seem to pop up everywhere. Nobody knows who the legendary artist is behind these quirky birds. They quickly became popular for their surreal yet oddly cute designs. Be in the right place at the right time in Honjo, and you might just be able to find all 20 of them scattered around. Legend has it that collecting them all would bring good luck. We have number 1. Approach the net. And there's hints somewhere they are, so that's alright. A bottom shelf surrounded by darkness. I'd like to look at the TV, please. A colour television. Barbara bought one as soon as it hit the market. He seems to like the, he likes to have the latest gadgets. Like today's models, there is no remote control. We've had it for a long time. Back when it was new, we all carried around it and marvelled at it as a family. But with father and my husband being away so often, it quickly fell into disuse. Did you not feel like you could use it in any way, shape or form? A fax machine! We really are living in the future. A fax machine. It can send images to other places along the telephone network. I don't really know how it works. Most houses don't have one. I rarely find a use for it. I'm gonna say, like, they're not super useful if I'm honest. Telephone. This mansion has a private line. My heart's still racing. This is it. My chance. At long last. That's the thing is, this lady really wants to revive her son. I'm just gonna, like, not do it. She's gonna do it herself anyway. An old hanging scroll. I don't know who painted it. Been hanging here since before I was born. An arrangement of flowers. We bring in someone to do it. Don't even know what the flowers are called. Alright, I can talk to this guy now. Let me bring you up to speed. We were in the middle of a chat when you suddenly started spacing out. The whole time you grinned to yourself like you just won the lottery. Care to tell me what that was all about? Well, where to start? Where to start indeed. Interesting. Very interesting. So, the haunting clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere. Told you how to perform the rite of resurrection and gave you the curse that you'll need to do it. Have I got that right? That's right. So it's all real, honestly. I still find it hard to believe. But I guess I have to now. I saw that curse stone appear in your hand myself. Looks like it popped down. It popped clean out of thin air. I mean, this is true. Evidence that clear. There's no denying that there's so much supernatural force at work. Yeah, my house is racing, blah, 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 blah. I don't think you quite understand. Oh? This isn't about evidence, and it isn't about belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it even said a word. It was already there in my head, as clear as day. You just knew, huh? It was etched onto my soul, along with the curse echoes resentful memories. So I can feel it, what it was like. dying like they did, hundreds of years ago. Wreathed in flame, writhing in pain as my flesh blackens and my blood boils. I can feel it, all the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. I think I need to kill someone. Anyone will do, just as long as they're carrying fire. I see, that could be a problem. You think so? From what I know of you, I was sure you see it as an opportunity. The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me, anyway. Good grief, talk about a spanner in the works. I say we take stock for a moment, remind ourselves where we've come from and where we're going, Cotton Eye Joe. That might be a good idea. Oh, guest table. The guest table. I don't know where Father got this old thing from, but I've never liked it. I'm still racing. Yeah, she's still happy about what she's found. I don't think there's anything else that's appeared in here. No. Oh, yeah, for ages, like, it wasn't like there wasn't any tunes or anything like that. I didn't accidentally beat the game. All it was the ticking of a clock. That was it. And I don't even see a clock in here. Yeah, there's the clock. The swinging of the pendulum echoes through the room. It feels livelier than usual with Rich to hear. Usually it's just me. Oh no. That's kind of sad. I mean, this lady does not have, like, a very happy life. That's what you hired me for, ma'am. It's looking at your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shuichi Shigima. Oh yes, I remember. And if did find the one who did it. That's what I'm here about today. In fact, kind of you to let me drop by so late, by the way. I've been turning over every last stone and I've come with a grand total of 1 lead. So you said. As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I managed to make some headway. I remember. You were just about to tell me. Oh. The Shigima kidnapping overview. A kidnapping and murder case that took place in Honjo, Sumida, around 1 year ago. Haru Shigima's son, Shuichi, aged 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school, with ransom being demanded that same evening. Yes, my passion burns, it really does. Initially, the kidnapping was thought of as a simple extortion scheme. When it came to light that the Shigima family was closely tied to the police and Shuichi was in fact the grandson of a senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was acting upon a grudge against the police force. The kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of the police. A large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. This made it all the more embarrassing when they were unable to catch the culprit. Losing the public's confidence, the culprit grew cocky, relentlessly mocking the police force. After 3 days of failure after failure, Haru reached her breaking point. Whereby concerned for her son, she resolved to hand over the ransom money as fast as possible. But her husband and father, who held the prestige of the police in high regard, refused. Then they would not let the criminal win by giving in to their demands. The increasingly frantic detective assigned to the case lost his temper when the criminal called to give an ultimatum, causing the culprit to never make contact again. A week passed and Shuichi's body was found floating in Sumida River. Oh no. Shuichi's death could be largely ascribed to the police's incompetence, but this was ultimately covered up with stringent media embargoes. The investigation was never closed, but the case has long gone cold. Oh no. But yeah, TLDR of what I meant as well earlier was like I was editing my Kobold and Sahagin thing. It's like maybe I do over dramatize or be over dramatic when I'm voicing certain things, but you know what? Fuck it, I embrace the cringe. I like to do what I do. And that's just the one quote. It's like, oh man, don't have a fake voice, bro. And I'm just like, that is my voice though. Sometimes I do like to overact with certain things, but I embrace the cringe. Yeah. Oh, no person of interest. They're putting a thing in. Okay. The only son of Haru Shigima. He was kidnapped and murdered 1 year ago. His body was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi was a conscientious, brave young boy who was determined to protect his mother, Haru, amid his father's frequent absences. He dreamed of becoming a police officer and displayed diligence and an impressive sense of responsibility from a young age, likely due to being raised in an extremely strict environment. Born in the early 70s, he spent his days immersed in various activities and studies. Because I think this game is based in the 80s, I think, including playing piano, learning the abacus, taking English lessons, and training in kendo. Shuichi's tendency to put other people's needs over his own meant he died without ever telling his classmates how much he longed for them to all go out on a hunt for mockingbird stickers. Ah, I'm now sad. You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what, why don't I tell you what I found and then we can make a decision? Alright. Okay, it's the same thing. I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself. No, I'm very familiar. Then I'll leave that for the files to cover and just confirm a few things about the case. The police traced the culprit's cause back to, let's see here, Northern Oyoko River here in Sumida City. That's quite a wide area. That's right. In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from. Almost certainly the same location as Shuichi was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite a distance from Shuichi's normal school commute, factoring that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house. It's likely that he was abducted by a car on his route home. Maybe, but... Exactly! Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have got into a car with a stranger. That's right. I was very firm about that. I know he understood too. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is there weren't any witnesses for the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone into a car without many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. Did they target him at some other time, or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of these seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off? The police never managed to find an answer. In the end, they decided that the kidnapper must have just gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on his head? The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi against their car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is it's someone they trusted. As if they were somebody that he would have a reason to trust. A teacher, perhaps, or a relative, or somebody else that he knew. But all of the students, or the adults Shuichi knew had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. What if it wasn't someone he knew, or rather... What if the culprit disguised themselves as a police officer? That'd explain why he didn't find them suspicious. The Shigima family has close ties with the police after all. He would have had a reason to trust them. You might be right. Oh my god. But surely that couldn't have... Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. That's sort of the point after all. They're meant to be a visible deterrent against crime. But here's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. Even kids who have been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect that danger to look like an adult man. You know what, he's actually not wrong with that, I guess. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... Now you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? If someone like that said they were lost and asked him for directions, Would he have gotten into a car? He might have. Oh my god. My husband always told him that a man had a duty to watch out for women and children. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays. But Shuichi's believed it. Then we might have something here. Then you think the culprit was a young woman? But it was a man's voice on the phone. She might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself might not realize that she had anything to do with the case. So the question is, did anybody see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See what I said about people's biases? That goes for witnesses too. And I figured that maybe if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route, seeing if anybody had seen something. And one man thought he had. Do you mean he saw it happen? Well, I can't say that for sure yet. It turned out he wanted something from me, so he asked if we could talk in private. Okay. Several hours earlier. Alright, this should do. There's no one around, we can speak in confidence. Excuse me, what was your name again?
Jonoichi.
Got it, well, Jonoichi, I'm all ears.
Just so we're on the same page. You're a private detective investigating Shuichi Shigami's kidnapping. Do I have that right?
Of course! What else do I look like?
Now, should I know what a private detective looks like? Oh, forget it. Look, I'll tell you straight. My life is in danger. I need your help.
You'll excuse me if that caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who is trying to kill you?
A student called Michio Shiriashi.
Interesting. A schoolgirl, eh? Sounds like you've been naughty.
It's nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michio Shirashi, I saw her kidnap Shuichi Shigima.
Come again!
I saw her taunt him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, I'm sure of it, or at least she's got something to do with it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can't let her get to me.
If that's true, you've been sending us some valuable information. Why didn't you tell anybody?
Well, you see...
If you can't explain that, I don't have any reason to believe you.
I couldn't. She told me if I spoke, she'd kill me if I spoke a word.
You're telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life? So you've been sitting on that all this time, and you think she's coming for you now that you spilled the beans?
Yes, that's it, exactly. I'm begging you, don't let her get me. Arrest her, I'm telling you, she's a demon.
Well, you seem to believe what you're saying, but it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified?
You don't know what she can do. She'll curse me.
Curse you? I'm sorry, but you're losing me here.
It's true, her house, it's... forget it, why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough, I'll find someone else to help me.
Hey. Intriguing. Oh my.
Mystery deepens.
And that's about the long and short of it.
I can hardly believe it.
At the time, I thought his mention of curses was just crazy talk. I'm starting to see that there might have been more to it.
Then, if we can just find that girl...
Curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, then there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name's Kohi Jonichi. He's a teacher at Komakati High School here in Sumida.
A teacher than this schoolgirl?
He's one of his students. I think that's very likely. I love his hair. At last, we've got a lead. Hopefully, it'll be the breakthrough we're looking for. The Rite of Resurrection, huh? I heard about that in the Court magazine the other day. Apparently, some old books showed up recently with all the gory details. And they said that the Rite can be found somewhere in Honjo.
I remember the first time you told me about that. It felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hope. Real hope for the first time. Ever since that awful day, I've wondered. What if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think that if I'd done something differently, she would still be alive.
You can't blame yourself, ma'am. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help any grief. Won't help any. Grief is funny like that. Ha ha ha. I'm guessing that's why you're after the Rite. Don't kill me, please. I guess I don't need to ask. It's written all over your face. I can tell how much he meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if this Rite is the real deal, using it would mean killing someone and stealing their soul.
Is that a problem?
If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you.
Oh, that's a shame.
A shame, huh? That's all.
I'd thought, if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful.
You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that?
I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this.
That's so, is it? Dear oh dear, what have I gotten myself into? But we know he does help her.
If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood in your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them.
I won't be party to murder, ma'am. Not even for a client. Ooh, that's two choices there. I mean, I think I'll just go with that's a shame.
I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn.
Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out.
What do you have in mind?
Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone if they filled it with soul dregs? If that was all you were after, then I can lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bearers want to kill each other, then that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a stolen curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later.
Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove?
That would void our contract, ma'am. Just warning, you know.
My.
Before we go any further, why do you tell me about that curse of yours? The Haunting Clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 missions of Honjo, if I remember correctly.
That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that.
In that case, my money would be all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Now, our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curses make their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere.
That sounds sensible.
And if I remember correctly, your Haunting Clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person. Is that right?
That's right.
In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. It seems like a good curse to have. It's simple and straightforward enough to use. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table.
You really think it's that good?
The target can't do much to throw it off, and it has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters too. Just slip one into your target's pocket, and say that condition will already fulfilled before they even knew you're there. Wouldn't even know what hit them.
Maybe I won't have to actually use it. I could just tell someone I could, and they'd have to do what I said.
Threats could work, although without any proof, it'll come down to how convincing you can be. Freddy could use the curse, then back out at the last second.
At the last second? What an interesting idea. I have a lighter right here. We could try it now.
That's why she did what she did in the original thing where she's doing the countdown. But she still used it because she was desperate. That's an interesting proposition. But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig.
Oh, I see.
You're an odd one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying. I don't think it's just a curse.
You flatter her.
I don't think he's trying to flatter. I really don't think he is. That's what we do next. First of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. Right then, have you decided what you want me to what you want me working on? Investigate the kid. I mean, see, I have two. This is definitely like a branching thing here. Investigate the kidnapping. I think he should still stick with what he's meant to be doing of investigating the kidnapping. But if I have him help with the Rite, that's probably supposed to be what I choose. But I want him to investigate the kidnapping.
Finally I have a lead. I need to know what happened to my son.
Your wish is my command, ma'am. I'll focus all my efforts on looking into the kidnapping. I mean, we have the storyboard, so we can go back if we need to.
Although, something just occurred to me. Can't investigate the matter at night, can you? At least until the sun rises. Would you search for the other curse bearers?
Oh, you evil. All right, I see how it is. Well, I'd be happy to help. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill into the cover of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up and I can start asking questions, I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try and find Miss Shirashi as part of the bargain.
Thank you. That's more than enough.
Now then. I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find out anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout. I mean, I did think Michael Jackson when I first saw him. But he's a detective, so yeah.
All right.
There's no telling what kind of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it. And try to be ready for anything.
I will.
Well, if that's all, I should be going. To be fair, MJ was kind of popular during this period. It is set in the 80s. I hope this isn't going to kill me. I'm going to just open up my drink because I do need my drink. Also, good evening, Frambo. How are you doing? Greetings, Mr. Sparkles. Basically, TLDR of what's, for those who've just come in and have missed the start of it. I did the continuation here, where obviously I didn't kill her. Shogo dies anyway at the end of it. He is actually just a tutorial story. The storyteller then came in and was like, hey, let's meet the three main characters. I'm like, excuse me? The three protagonists, which is Haru Shigima, Tetsuo Sumatsu, and Yako Sakazaki. So they are our main crew. And I've decided to start off with Haru because she's the crazy lady who can set people on fire. Yeah. Despite having obtained the curse of the Haunting Clappers, Haru Shigima is determined to use the Rite of Resurrection by stealing the remaining curse stones. She instructs her private investigator Richter to find the other curse bearers. And yeah, if they have a flame on them or anything that can create a flame, that is literally the trigger for her her curse. That's why the lighter was so bad that we had it on us. Haruhi I'm going to keep calling it that by accident, and I don't care. Shigima Mansion reception room. Yeah, she wants to revive her son. It's been almost an hour since Richter left. He promised he'd call me if anything happened. But he hasn't. All I can do is wait and wait. I don't think we really need to. Should I put a record on? No, it's too late for that. I'm not in the mood for music anyway. The flowers put me at ease just a little. That old hanging scroll. I've seen it too often to feel anything from it now. But it also turns out that the person who potentially, like, I can say stole her son, kidnapped her son, was like a high school girl. And the teacher, like, basically came forward, but he was threatened by her, like, if he did anything. I'm waiting for Richard to contact me, but he hasn't. It's a fax machine. I rarely find a use for it. I don't know anybody who owns one. I know it's dangerous to go out, but I can't just sit here and let this opportunity pass me by. I have to look for her, for Michiyo Shiriashi. But first, I need to find more soul dregs. The ticking seems so loud. It just goes to show how quiet it is. There's nothing on at this hour. I see no point in turning it on. All you can do is think. I have to look for her, for Michiyo Shiriashi. Oh, I didn't see the newspaper. What's this? A newspaper? Must have fallen off the chair. I'm getting so many more options of do this or don't do it. It's like, I'm not going to read it. Don't read it. Ah, fuck, we're going to read it. It's a newspaper. I leave them in here for the guests. I hardly ever read them myself. I don't think I've taken the time to go over one in years, in fact. Well, it's not like I have anything better to do. Oh my word. Looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. Remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted? The river was covered in scum from all the sewage and industrial waste. It stank so badly, it made my eyes water. Eventually people started getting sick, and it couldn't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it's gotten better since then. Although the air around the industrial district is still filthy with gas and smog. If there's one thing Honjo never wants for, it's horrific crimes. They found a police officer dead in a local park just the other day. A lot of my family are in the police. I hope it wasn't anybody I knew. I don't read the news anymore. Not since last year. It brings back bad memories. Suicide at local high school? Oh, I remember that. A high school girl jumped off a roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think. Or maybe it was something about exam pressure? What? But... no, this can't be right. Her name... Michiyo Shiriashi from Komagata High School? It can't be. Oh, that's the one who's basically been accused of kidnapping her son. And I also wonder if that's the reason why the high school girl is trying to revive her, maybe? I don't know. At least I think that might be her target of revival, potentially. All sorts of articles about the current state of the economy. Now that the post-war boom has passed its peak, it is the era of large corporations. About 220 to 230 yen to the dollar. Manufacturers on the rise and exports are healthy. The dollar's down from its height and people are saying it could fall further. There's no denying how much the standard of living has improved in the past few years. It's common to own a car and television now, and supermarkets are better stocked than ever. Man, how I wish that was reflected in real life. Like, we've got like a reduced cab, and I was like, I'm buying 5 of these mac and cheeses. I don't care. I'm stuck, baby. Although with everyone flocking to the city, land prices are skyrocketing. Nowadays, most people can only dream of home ownership. The city centre's going to be nothing but apartments before long. I'm not exactly a businesswoman, so this all feels like another world to me. The culture articles, yes. Now that everyone has more spending money to go around, people are coming up with all kinds of new diversions. It seemed like only yesterday that people were flocking to the arcades to shoot aliens. But now we have these enormous theme parks and gaming machines that plug straight into our televisions. Everyone's talking about superhero series, foreign films and movies based on the latest bestseller. Back in my day, fusion rock and folk music were all the rage. But now it's all about city pop and idols. I find it hard to care about that sort of thing anymore. I hear the new big thing is some mascot line of delinquent birds. Mockingbirds, I think it's called. Was that what Rishta was talking about? Trends seem to have such short shelf lives now. How quickly the times are changing. I think I'm just too old to keep up anymore. It's young people who are leading the way with their modern worldviews. My generation will only fall further behind. Everyone attends high school now, even girls. Universal education policy, they call it. The country's gotten rich enough that every child can go to school. Yeah! Education's the backbone of modern society. If you want to work for a good company, you have to get into a good university. With more people in the running than ever, the competition to get into the universities has gotten fierce though. The new generation is rebelling. Schoolyard violence and delinquency are on the rise. But my boy was too sensible to get mixed up in any of that. I don't want to read anymore, it'll only remind me of him. I don't really watch much television. It feels as if all the information in the world gets passed through that little black box. But Father stopped them from reporting on the kidnapping back when it happened. I was glad about that. Less fuss. Wow. Watch streaks. I'm glad that this was a 3 consecutive. I'm your 3rd consecutive watch streak for this month. Now the comedy boom is over. All the comedians are flocking to other genres. The cult seems really popular at the moment. Look at all these paranormal specials. Playing as the lady who can set people on fire right now. I'm waiting for Rich to contact me, but he hasn't. I've made sure the receiver's on the hook, as it'll ring as soon as he calls. Ah! That must be him. It's ringing. I better pick it quickly. Basically, TLDR is we went with the other route of what we could do with the first guy. No matter what happens, he meets a bad end. He gets removed. He's literally the tutorial guy. We're now playing as this lady who hired the investigator who looks like Michael Jackson, who I'm giving him the Uncle Ray voice. He found the person who kidnapped her child a year ago and also basically probably killed them, and found out that it's actually a high school girl. And by reading the paper, we found out that the girl, there was like a suicide at local school, like jumping off the roof or something like that, like due to bullying or whatever. And the name of the girl who did it was the name of the person who potentially kidnapped her son. It's like, it deepens. Hello, Shigimi residence? 2 a.m. Homogata Bridge. Ah, here he is. Rishta called me out to meet him, and we came here to Komagata Bridge. Basically, there is a sort of timey-wimey loop that goes on in this. So he was a tutorial. We're now playing as her. When I actually did it, when I completed his, because the true route, what's meant to happen is you don't activate the curse stone, and because like we are the the god or whatever you want to go by, like we're a different character. It came with a prompt where I just basically say that, oh, there's nothing there, blah 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 blah, and he says he'll keep investigating, and then like he just found like in the same state she was, like, or like with the eyes rolled back in the park. I don't know, but he was dead. So now we're playing as, and the storyteller said like, oh, now we get to meet our three main protagonists, which is her, the detective, and the schoolgirl that we saw.
Fisher, there's something I need to tell you.
Funny, I was just thinking the same thing.
Sumida River. The water is filthy and horrid, but at night, when it's still, it looks almost peaceful.
Can I ask you something, ma'am? Is Sumida River what you Honjo folk picture when you think of home?
I couldn't say. All I can tell you, I can hardly stand the sight of it.
Right, should have guessed. This is where they found him after he
No, this was where they found him after he went missing. All alone, floating in that horrible water. All I can think is how scared he must have been. How cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful?
But yeah, we're going deeper into the mystery and learning more of what the whole story is going to be about. And we're probably going to play as almost everybody, I reckon. Or at least there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be like, what's the real story here?
I've come here every day since then. And I praise the river to give him back. Give me back my son. Day after day after day.
You know, in olden times, people believe rivers marked where our world met the next. So the anti-crossing flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw the Sumida River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife. That same place would later become Honjo. Or their fear and revulsion accumulated there and took root. But then the Ryogoko Bridge sprang up after the Great Fire of Mariaki, and just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned from farmland into a town, the people surrounded it and with man-made rivers and crisscrossed it with canals and waterways. I read that as something else originally.
Weren't those to prevent flooding? That's what I was told.
They were, but that's not all they were for. Their purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore, and stop it leaking through to our side of the Great Divide. Officially, they were a physical barrier, but unofficially, they were a spiritual one too.
So, if I have this right, are you saying that Honjo is a place where the real world meets the afterlife?
Exactly, that's why the Rite of Resurrection is here, rather than anywhere else, I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the seven mysteries and their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess I ought to make this spot where we're standing now right over the water. I just wanted to look at the river. The border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river. That might have done more than you think.
Is that supposed to make me feel better?
Just thinking aloud, ma'am.
Well, it's a nice thought.
A Class A river that is part of the Arakawa River system, which runs through much of eastern Tokyo and empties into Tokyo Bay. During the Edo period, Sumida's riverbanks played a key role in the transportation of lumber used for construction. In addition to its logistical importance, it was also a place for the common folk to gather and enjoy activities, such as seasonal flower viewing or river bathing, and there exists many woodblock prints depicting such activities. The area became plagued with sewage issues when the surrounding environs were industrialized in the post-war period, but the situation has improved since. Many unique bridges span the Sumida River, including the Ryogoku and Azumabashi bridges, which attract a large number of visitors as sightseeing spots. Massive fireworks displays in the summer are also always sure to draw a crowd. The river has served as a cornerstone for both the city and its people, having both aided in its development and serving as an inspiring backdrop for countless works of art and literature. Now I can talk to him. Maybe.
Oh, that's right. There's one more memory I have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you?
Go ahead.
It must have been about 20 years now, when I was still a schoolgirl. Back then, the Sumida River was much filthier than it is now. It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy and slimy and it stank. You could look out over the water and see dead cats and dogs and pigeons just floating. And one day, among all the filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand. This is new. What do you mean, a piece of your missing classmate's hand? Oh no. What? It was almost a miracle when you stopped to think about it. What were the chances that someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And although everything but the palm had rotted away in the water. Yes, I did. I haven't been back, but I did get them done. I don't know if it will it'll be broken or not. I have no idea, but yeah. The part that was left would have an identifiable scar, and that they could tell if it had been a murder from the blade marks and the bone.
Wait. Are you talking about the Nejima murders?
So, you have heard of it. I'm impressed. I assume you were but an elementary schooler at the time.
I wasn't really aware of it then. I only heard about it after the fact. I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours.
Why do I have this feeling that she's the one who did it?
Yes. I pretty much will assume that I'll be fine. And even if I'm not, I don't think it's going to put me back that far, if I'm completely honest.
The Nejima Murders Overview. A notorious case from over 2 decades ago involving the murder of a female high school student. It first came to the attention of the authorities when part of a human left hand was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Testing revealed it belonged to a missing female high school student. As it appeared to have been severed deliberately, the police launched a murder investigation. A large-scale search of the river was organised, but the highly polluted state of the water made this impossible. Visibility was poor, the stench was intense, and the divers quickly fell ill. They succeeded in recovering only the victim's head and what appeared to be part of her leg before the search was called off. At the time of the incident, the Sumida River was as polluted as it had ever been. Neither fish nor shellfish could survive in it, eventually causing the annual fireworks festival to be called off indefinitely. Over the course of the search, the police discovered a number of unidentified human bones. This caused a stir amongst the public, as several other young women had gone missing in recent years in the Tokyo area, and it was feared that they may have fallen victim to the same fate. Forensic technologists at the time, however, were not advanced enough to determine the identity of the deceased, and so the police were unable to open any inquiries. Due to the overwhelming lack of circumstantial evidence, the investigation ground to a halt till a hitherto unrelated individual came to its attention. During a questioning about a separate incident, Fumichika Nejima, a 36-year-old shop owner with no relation to the victim, divulged details about her that had never been released to the general public. An investigation into his background was conducted, leading to his arrest. Nejima testified that he'd snatched his victim from the street and confined it in the underground storeroom of his shop. She also served his living quarters. He chose her for no special reason, but simply decided she was an opportune target on seeing her walking alone at night. After keeping her locked up for several days, he restrained her, sewed her mouth shut, and severed her fingers and toes with a box cutter while she was still conscious. As she screamed silently behind her sealed lips, he proceeded to her wrists, her ankles, her elbows, her knees, working his way inwards slowly and methodically. His victim constantly wavered in and out of consciousness. Her ordeal continued until she died of blood loss. Nejima dismembered the rest of her body and disposed of it behind his home in the Sumida River before cleaning his storeroom, returning to his everyday routine as if nothing had happened. The brutality of his actions shocked the nation when they were eventually reported. Once apprehended, Nejima readily divulged the details of the murder, but was less willing to explain his motive. When asked, he would only break down in tears, saying, "I don't know what came over me. I know it was wrong." In the end, the police could extract nothing more from him than expressions of remorse.
Although the efficiency of his methods strongly suggested that he had committed similar crimes in the past, no corroborating evidence ever came to light. Nejima was sentenced to life in prison. At his first hearing, the sentence was imposed with no appeal from the defendant. That is quite the story. That is quite the look. The man who made headlines over two decades ago as the perpetrator of the brutal killings knows the Nejima murders. So the fact that they're showing like a picture of him means that he's probably going to be involved at some point in the story. He's probably going to be involved with the detective, would be my guess. To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos just parting around me. Something like that. I said the rest of her body must have sunk to the bottom of the river. They combed the riverbed, but they only ever found pieces. Everything else must have been rotted and flowed out to sea. Afterwards, I heard that all the divers who'd been looking for her fell ill. A sorry story for everyone involved, huh? It's funny, everyone figures the river's filthy already. One more piece of garbage won't hurt. Every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. I know I wouldn't want to go rooting around down there myself. That's right, which is why the riverbed is the last place anybody would go looking. Or so was the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing. Everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Young people were moving to Tokyo in droves. Some even ran away from home to make it in the big city. And they made easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. You see, back then, if you chopped a body up into tiny pieces and threw it in the river, it would rot quickly and discreetly and sink to the bottom, never to be seen again. You know too much about this, Haru. Are you saying what I think you're saying? They arrested him shortly after. Yumichika Nejima. The man who killed my classmate and cut her into pieces. He was so methodical about it, it couldn't have been his first crime. And people begin to wonder how many other girls he'd murdered the same way. The police never found any evidence of other murders in the end. But the river knows the truth. How many corpses has it swallowed up over the years, I wonder? That same thought spread through everyone's mind, and they started to avoid this area. So really, this river has been rank with corruption for decades now. Or at least, that's how it seems to me. Well, was that interesting? Well, I can see why you don't have any good memories of this river. With all that darkness lurking beneath the surface, there's no reason that you would. Still, if I say, ma'am, I'm surprised you know so much about the Nejima murders. Oh, but how could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. The police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Nejima to justice. I like to think that she was obviously going to say, after all, it was me who did the deed. That was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me. Huh. I guess it just wasn't the killer's day. Sometimes I wonder if he resents me for it. We need to keep an eye out for stickers as well. Just as an FYI. So if you see a chicken, let me know. What's this? There's a chicken. Oh, like a bird, sorry. Mockingbird number 18. Yeah. We got it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we have collectibles. Pink Punisher. Nice. We're on Komagata Bridge over the Sumida River. There's a highway on one side and a freeway on the other, but they're both deserted this late at night. And just remember as well, I won't be on tomorrow night because I have to be in, like, I'm in early on the Friday, so I want to get the nice rest before tomorrow. I will be live Friday with 14 because it's an 11-8 shift and I cannot think much, and if I'm going to be live, I'll at least be live with that. I'll probably just do some PvP or something, and then Saturday I'll continue my Genshin, and then Sunday I'll be going to visit parents for Easter, but I'll still be doing Trials in the Sky. One of the bridges spanning the Sumida River, completed in 1927 as part of the reconstruction effort. Following the Great Kanto earthquake, is notable both for its distinctive blue arches and the cutting edge, for the time, techniques used in its construction. There are many bridges stretching across the Sumida River, each boasting a unique structural form and design. My schedule looking at work is back to pretty much normal next week, as in I have the Tuesday off. So I'm looking forward to that. We have more stuff to do with this river. The Sumida River. I have nothing but awful memories of it. Now we're done with it. Good. Standing around's the last thing I want to be doing right now. This is my only chance to bring back my son. I can't afford to fritter it away. He's gazing down at the water. I'll go first. There's something I need to tell you. What's up? Well, that girl, Michiyo Shiriashi. The one who was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping. That's her, well, she's dead. She's what? The student who committed suicide last week, that was her. I heard something like that had happened, never got the name though. Talk about bad luck. We finally got a lead only to find it's turned into a literal dead end. As her death was the whole reason Jonuichi was so shaken up. He said she was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave? It seems like we're back where we started. Not necessarily. That teacher knows something, I'm sure of it. At the very least, I put money on him having something to do with Miss Shiriashi's death. That's why he's so scared of being cursed by her. I see. And also, something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch. A hunch? Well, more of a theory. A game theory. Care to take a guess? I couldn't say. I'm just an ordinary housewife. I'm not clever enough for all this. Are you sure I'd had you down for sharper than that? That's flattering, but I'm afraid you're mistaken. Anyway, that's enough speculation for now. The truth will out in time. Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Jonuichi. Okay, we will do then. Yeah, it's everything you want to do. Want to bring the sun back, blah, 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 blah. Please, go ahead. Alright then. I've been poking around places connected to the Seven Mysteries looking for curse bearers. And I think I found a few candidates. First, a tall man I ran into in Kinoshibira Park. I asked him for directions, trying to probe him a little, but he turned the questions right back around on me. And he was out there the second, he figured I wasn't what he was looking for. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. That guy. Yeah. Then there's this middle-aged guy I saw in South Warigeshi Street. There's no question about this one. He had one of the curse stones in his hand. He had a nervous air about him too. It was clear he was up to some shady business. Gathering sword dregs, I'd bet. He'd make a good target. Next up is a pair. A young man and woman I saw around Ryogoku Bridge. This time the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. It's like they lurk around there often looking for kindred spirits, would be my guess. But it seemed like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering sword dregs in a group might be a decent idea, you could make it work. But with things being how they are, it's got to be hard to find folks one can trust. They got brass though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. Last are two detectives I've seen sniffing around. The police are involved. Not necessarily. A body turned up in a local park a few days ago, so they might just be looking into that. Still, the park's got ties on the Seven Mysteries. Might be it was a curse that did the guy in. And if they're sending in detectives from the head office, then something's got to be up. How do you know where they're from? Let's just say that when you're in this business, there are some faces you get to know. Haha! Anyway, that's everyone who caught my eye. You found all of them in so little time. I really did hire the best. What's your name, ma'am? Rishikai, P.I. No, wait, made that Rishikai investigator extraordinaire. My, an investigator extraordinaire. Is that why you can dress like that without drawing attention to yourself? You bet, an investigator extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit. Well, that aside, the middle-aged man and the young couple sound the most promising. Am I right? Whichever we pick, it's still too early to make a move. It seems like the curse bearers are less involved with each other than we thought. Plus, there are still others we don't know about. I say we hang fire and see how things play out. Once more bodies start showing up, that'll get the pot nice and hot. And once it's boiling out, chance will come. Is something wrong? Not really, it just struck me. It's been 20 years since the Nejima murders. So it has. Not to spook you or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. There's precedent for first-time offenders being allowed out on parole after 20 years. Or if they found to show remorse and the desire to reform themselves, of course. That's right, I'm impressed you know so much. Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society. I hear they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodation. Oh, really? They keep an eye on them, of course, and make them report in for regular checkups. But to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give particularly notorious criminals new identities so they won't be recognized in the workplace. My. The way you put it. It's like you're saying Fumichiki Nejima could be out on parole right now. Back in society under a new name with nobody any the wiser. It's possible. As it happens, little birdie told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if that was Nejima, but our discussion just now did bring it to mind. I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remembered something too. What was it? I was passing Komagata High School a little while ago when I saw someone. A janitor, I think. And I could have sworn he reminded me of Fumichiki Nejima. Oh, no. Nah. The person we played at the beginning, that wasn't him, was it? No, because he was too young. He was too young. Oh. He looks a little different after 20 years. Much thinner than I remembered, too. I told myself I was just seeing things. But perhaps it was him, after all. Oh no. So, what next? The big question now is what the rest of the Curse Bearers are up to. Luckily, the Sumida River is a good distance from any of the 7 mysteries. It's unlikely the other Curse Bearers will come all the way here. I can finally have a moment to think. I see. Alright. Oh. I'm being given the option to suspend it at the moment. You cannot progress any further. If once your situation changes, select resume to try again. Pressing suspend will return you to the story chart. Ah. So now we need to do one of the other stories here. We need to go with either Tetsua's Susumishi or Yako Sasakazaki. I'm gonna go with the 2 detectives. I'm changing the main detective's voices right here.